am Nicole Wallace. I'm one of the pastors here at the Father's House. As I think Ildiko mentioned, my parents are enjoying one more week away from us. But everyone say hello to Steve and Vicky. Hi, Mom and Dad. Anyway, we're missing you, but we hope you're having a great time. I did want to share with you that I am hosting a tour of the Father's House campus this Thursday at 2 p.m. If you'd like to take advantage of that and kind of see how the Father's House has grown, if you've never seen the tour of the campus and all of that, it is about a 2-hour long tour. So if you want to, please let them know in the back. I do need to know that you are showing up. I've had a few people come and I didn't know they were coming. I didn't wait for them. So that's why I would do that. That's over at our office at 2661 Elgin. Not Elgin. I said that all wrong. 2656 Fort Wayne Street. It's just the next block down on your right. And then also they mentioned that we are about ready to bust through this wall behind me. It's so exciting because we are about ready to add all that square footage, and we're really excited about that. So that's happening in the next week or so. So be looking for all the changes and lots of dust. So bear with us as we continue that remodel. But I'm so glad to be here with you guys. I would love to pray. Would you guys pray with me? Okay. Jesus, I love you. I am honored to be allowed to be your mouthpiece. And I know that the power that comes from it, Lord, the permission to be given authority to speak on your behalf, I pray that I do it justice and that you'll download what you want to speak to this audience today. Amen. It is kind of weird speaking a second time when you do two services, so bear with me as I gather my thoughts. I wanted to talk about mercy and justice today, and it is a doozy, and I am literally in the middle of learning this myself. I am in the middle of getting a handle on myself and my circumstances and my desire for justice in my life. One thing I wanted to tell you about justice is that sometimes it can often be confused with judgment, and actually justice in itself takes pleasure in others getting what they deserve. So justice is all about what someone deserves. In other words, it's pleased when people have done good things that get rewarded, and those that do bad things get the justice of those actions. I don't know about you, but I am kind of a justice person. Like, if you do right, you should get good things. If you do wrong, you should get the payment for those actions. And that's just really not the message that Jesus wants us to have in our own lives. That's not really the thing that he wants us to live in our own lives. And I am caught up in the middle of this because I think that I don't always have a question as to why God, why did you let this happen? I try to really steer clear from that. I try to stay focused in the here and the now and not punish God or say that he's punished. But I do tend to go into the why me question. The why me question tends to bring us into a victim mentality, a victim mode that seems that we are being punished because we go to the justice side of things and being punished for something I've done wrong. And judgment, if we look at that word, it is the verdict, opinion, or belief we make about others, a situation, solely based on interpretation of a person or their actions. So justice is like, you get what you deserve, you bought it, you paid for it. That's yours. And then judgment is, I'm judging you based on my interpretation of what you're doing or not doing. So there's a vast difference between the two, although they can kind of intertwine with each other. In fact, looking up kind of some of the stuff I'm going to read today, I kind of would go to judgment and justice but then when I found out the definition between the two, I was able to draw a clear line between it. Now, for me, both are equally difficult for me to stay in my lane, both equally hard for me to not want justice for individuals that I feel deserve to have repayment for their sins, or their, not sins necessarily, just even actions ought against me, things like that. Now, when I think about my life, I think about a lot of, if you look at my life on the outside, there's so much good, so much good. I was born to incredible parents and a wonderful family and great siblings, and we've had a great life together. But on the inside track, my life has been personally been filled with a lot of trials, a lot of challenging things. And when I was 12 years old, I made a declaration to the Lord. I threw my hands up at a conference with thousands of other kids, and I said, Jesus, my life is yours. I didn't know if I had done that previously. And so I threw my hands up and I said, Jesus, I'm giving you my whole life. It was kind of an insurance policy, to be honest, because I hadn't remembered doing it before. But at that moment, I remember making a declaration to him and saying, my life is yours. I'm giving myself to you. And in that setting, I had also decided that I wanted to be a missionary, that I felt that the missionary journey for me was going to be my life, and that when I was old enough, I would go to Africa. If you have been in the church a long time or have been a Christian, Africa has been the quintessential missionary location, and especially back in the 80s when I did become a Christian, or early 90s, I guess, that was where I was pledging to go. However, God took me in a different direction, and I think has asked me to be a missionary in this world, in this time frame, in the United States. And I think, honestly, I think it's harder. I think we are faced with things today that feels normal, or that we go with the tide, and yet really standing up and being someone who says yes to Jesus and no to the world can be very difficult. Once I said yes to Jesus, it started the journey of continually saying yes to Jesus and making my yes count. Not just saying yes today and then getting caught up in the world tomorrow, but with everything that I could, being able to say yes no matter what. That led me into a lot of persecution as a child and a teenager and a young adult. I faced a lot of backlash from individuals that I don't know what reason it was. There was actions that were interpreted or judged by my parent from the outside world to my parents, that then they treated me poorly. As a teenager, I was caught up in a high school scandal, so to speak. When my Christianity was I was trying to be as good as I could be and love Jesus and show my actions, and it caused for a lot of persecution. Bullying, and back then the two high schools would get together and we'd have football games and whatever. Everybody knew each other in the early years, and I got pretty brutalized in those time frames. And there was rumors going around town about my family, about my parents, and I got a lot of the backlash from that. And so I started my Christianity and then kind of went right into turmoil and decision making, whether I was going to choose Jesus or not. I always decided to choose Jesus above all else, and I'm really proud of that. But in me became a pride that I say yes to Jesus, that nothing could take me out. And while that is good to have when it becomes bigger and you start saying, but then I have all of this backlash in my life, or the justice, it seems, why me, Lord? Why does it look like I have a bullseye on my back? Why am I being targeted for this kind of thing? And then you go into early adulthood, and I get married, and I had never had a boyfriend. I'd waited my whole life, prayed for this man my entire life, and I marry him, and I'm in love with him, and we have a tumultuous 12 years. First 12 years was very hard. And I won't go into all the details, but it was extremely difficult. And in the early years of our marriage, we had 2 miscarriages where we lost babies, and my parents' house burnt down. Just like the church, we had a church split back in the day, and it was very hard, and people rejecting us. And like I said, there was lots of rumors that went around town. There was websites made about lies about my family, and trying to come against that. There was a lot of turmoil, a lot of decision making that we had to do. And I had to make a choice every time, am I going to say yes to Jesus? And I believe I did. I did good. I passed each test, so to speak. Then we come across the one test I feel like was so large. And my daughter, for those of you that don't know, in 2016 was diagnosed with leukemia and ultimately ended in her departing this earth in 2019. And she was our middle out of 3. We still have 2 beautiful daughters, and I love them very much, Briella. Apple of my eye. Sorry, this is hard. But having your daughter suffer and the other 2 watch her suffer, and the turmoil and the gut-wrenching punch to the everywhere the decisions you have to make while living in a hospital with your family, and the things that you have to do to make the choices that are going to be the best for your family, and having to go toe-to-toe to doctors, all of that. And then ultimately holding your daughter while the last breath is taken from her, or she breathes her last. And sometimes I just want a break. Anyone else? Just want a break. Why me, Lord? What, do I have a target on my back? Like, are you punishing me? Are you testing me because you don't think that I would make it? All of these questions that we all have in our mind. And we go to this internal question about, what did I do to piss you off? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. What did I do to tick you off? I'm sorry, but I think we are all thinking it. What did I do? Why do I keep getting tested? Have I not proven myself to you? Have I not said yes enough? Have I not made the right decisions enough? Have I not been persecuted enough? And when in reality, we look at the Bible and we see the disciples and the apostles, they constantly said yes, and their yes ended in turmoil and suffering. And so I want to, but what about them? But what about them? They haven't said yes to you as much as I have. They haven't, and put the they in there that you want to. Whatever your they is, that's what I do all the time. This is the hardest thing, I think, besides all the stuff I've talked about. This is the hardest thing with Jesus that I've had to say yes to. Focusing on the prize. And you know when the dogs come home with the cones, you know? I keep getting those pictures that I just want to put a cone on my head. And I don't want to keep looking to the right or left. I want to focus on the prize ahead of me and focus on my goal, my love for Jesus. Stop asking the question, why me? Because he keeps coming back with, I love you. I see you. You're exactly where I want you to be. I'm so proud of you. And he keeps reaffirming his love for me. And so often we can take these horribly terrible, awful hardships that I really, truly, honestly don't wish on anybody. I really don't. And I take these, and it's like I can either allow God to make me stronger and more settled in who I am, or I can want justice for everyone and everything involved. The mercy that he's given me. So if I want justice for someone else, then I'm going to have to say I want justice for myself. I'm going to have to say I want what's owed to me. And in reality, all those things that happened to me or I've had to go through, well, we haven't even talked about the sins that I commit and the things that I fall short in and the things that I would be responsible for answering to the Lord for. We haven't even talked about that. We just only talk about, oh, why me? Poor, pitiful me. But what about what I do to the Lord? What about when I've grieved his heart? What about when my anger's got the best of me? Then I'm going to get punished for those things if I want other people to be punished for what they've done. Mercy and grace often get flip-flopped also. They can kind of entwine, and they're a little bit hard to define. Mercy is the compassion or forgiveness shown towards someone when it is within one's power to punish or harm. So you can see that justice and mercy are the exact opposite of each other, but also work in tandem with each other, especially in Christianity and with Jesus. Mercy is the withholding. I'm going to withhold this punishment for you. Even though you may deserve it, and even though I have the power to give it, I'm going to withhold this justice from you. So it's also fair to say that Jesus and God's justice for us gives us what we deserve as well. When his grace comes in and covers us, when we've done what we need to do, the justice of what we've done gives us heaven. But it also can give us the other thing. Does that make sense? When we apply grace in our life, which is the other one, grace is a gift we don't deserve. So when we apply the gift that God has given us through his son Jesus to our life, and then we allow the mercy to take place that he withholds our punishment from us. He could punish us every time we do something wrong. We could disqualify ourselves from all that we have earned. But grace is a gift we don't deserve. So often interchangeable, grace and mercy differ in different ways. Grace is a gift we don't deserve, while mercy is not getting the punish we deserve. Grace is ultimately designed as goodwill. Courteous goodwill. So I'm going to give something to you. Mercy is I'm going to withhold it, and I'm going to choose to withhold it. I want to choose to withhold the justice that I want other individuals to go through. I don't want justice to be wielded around, and I demand my way, and I demand these things of why me, why me, why me. So here's another vein of thought that I've been being taught, I guess would be a better description of it. In the whole world, we see testing, and you go to college, any schools, you're tested on your knowledge. Testing, as we all know, stinks really bad. We have to realize that we should have paid attention to the things we're being tested on to pass the test. You go to the military, combat training, anything like that, and there's tests involved. You can even go as far as to gang activity, which all the negative stuff, but you're tested to see what your resolve is going to be able to be granted the title of whatever you're going after. Doctors, lawyers, all of those things require lots and lots of testing. We don't see that as suffering for those individuals or those ways of life. We don't see that as suffering or it's negative or something that someone's done wrong. But in Christianity, we take any suffering and testing as if I've done something wrong. As I said, why me? Why did our daughter have to have leukemia? Why did we have to lose 2 kids? Why? Why me? But instead of, okay, what am I going to do to pass this test? Okay, I'm going to apply everything I've learned. Okay, I said yes to Jesus when I was 12, so I've had a long time of planning and preparing for these tests to happen. I didn't know when they were going to happen, but they're like pop quizzes. You got to be ready. Do I have what I need to apply to this next test? Do I have instilled in me what I need to apply to pass the next test? So Jesus has been talking to me a lot about in the kind of the Western world and the whole world idea of you go to college, you get knowledge, you become what you want to become, right? You have to go through the process to become. And Jesus is saying, why do we take away that thought when it's in Christianity? We actually apply the opposite. Because I've been tested or things have been coming hard my way, I think I'm being punished. Anyone else feel me? You're being punished for something. Hardships come. What did I do to tick you off? Oh, another one's coming? And instead of embracing it, standing firm in the storm, saying, come at me, okay, here's another one. What am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to stand firm, steadfast on the truth that I've built my life on, and I'm going to get stronger. You watch any of the combat movies. They don't get stronger by sitting in their bunk. They get stronger by going head to head, hand to hand with each other. They get stronger by learning and fighting against each other and getting stronger. Just remember watching Mulan, the main, not the animated version, but the newest one. And I was struck by that, the combat, the going after. We need to apply that to our lives too. We need to be strong so that when the distraction comes that I want someone to pay for what they've done, I want to demand my way or expect that they're going to be repaid the way that I think that I have, whatever. No. I want to stay focused on the truth. The truth is that Jesus is with me, and this is my journey. This is my road. I'm going to stay in my lane. When someone's going all over the place, they're going to get people hurt. When you're in a car and someone else is in your lane, they're going the wrong way, it can harm a lot of people. When we are not in our lane, when we are all over the road, when we aren't doing what we're keeping in line with our plan, God's plan for us, for my journey, I'm all over the road. I'm causing destruction. I want to stay focused on the plan that God has for me. Now, I can be there for moms and parents that have lost their children. I am there. We've said yes to a ministry to help heal those, walk alongside them, bring them along. I couldn't have done that before. I would have had no idea. And so this idea of justice and mercy, I want to extend mercy. I want to withhold punishment even if it's due. Even if that person deserves it, it doesn't matter. I want to be the one that withholds it. I want to give them a gift of grace by withholding justice. We have this choice in our life that we can walk in all the things we're owed. We can say, God, you don't owe me anything, and neither does the person to my right or left. This is about me and my journey. This is about my one-on-one with you, Lord. This is about me learning the waxing on and the waxing off of the training that is happening in my life. In the Karate Kid, the wax on, wax off. And he's like, why don't you have to do it? Why do I have to do it? This is stupid. I came here to learn karate. And he goes, wax on, wax off. Why do I have to do it? Why me? Why don't you have to do it? Well, he had to learn the fundamentals of that monotonous activity before he could move on to the next. Sometimes we just have to learn the fundamentals of Christianity before we can move on to the next thing that God has for us. If we're not strong enough, we're going to fail miserably when the next storm comes or the next challenge comes. I pray that when the next challenge comes in my life, that I'm steadfast and firm and not looking to the right or left, because I'll miss it. So I am keeping my eyes on the prize, wanting to withhold justice and walk in mercy because I want it for my life and I want to extend it to those around me. It isn't about how someone's punished. It's about how you love. Jesus, before lots of people, was standing in a courtyard when an adulterous woman was brought. And truth and law were all used by the religious leaders to say, actually, it's our right to stone her because of her adulterousness. This is found in John 8, if you want to read it. It's our right. What do you say, Jesus? And he, without getting into the law of right or wrong, he bends down and draws a line in the sand and says, any one of you who has not sinned can throw the first stone. And all those accusers walked away. Then Jesus goes into, I know who I am. I know who I am, so I can speak truth, so I can say what needs to be said. My Father, I know whose I am. When we get into that ability to know who we belong to, who is our Father, who covers us, who loves us, we can draw a line in the sand too and say, listen, I'm not going there. I'm not bringing justice on her. He withheld justice from her even though she had bought and paid for that. She had bought and paid for her to be stoned because it was well known, you're caught in this, this is what happens. You do this, you do that. You do this, you get that. Well, I want mercy to be extended to me. I want to draw a line in the sand with my desire for justice and say, Jesus, but for the grace of God, here I am. When we withhold justice from people and we give mercy, I feel like we go up a level. It's another testing. Because I don't want you to suffer. Now, everything in me wants you to suffer. I'm going to lie. I'm sure we all have that. I want you to suffer for what you've done. I want you to get what you've bought and paid for. This is why this is such a hard thing for me, because I want you to get what you bought and paid for. It's the only right. But if I live in the land of justice, then I will get the repercussions of justice also. Jesus will not withhold my justice that comes to me from what he says. So do I want him to withhold what's owed to me in the negative sense? Withhold it and give me mercy? Well, it comes from repentance. It comes from a knowledge that we've done it wrong. In the end of those verses, Jesus says, go and sin no more. He says, where's your accusers? She's like, I guess it's just you and me. He says, then go. And he doesn't tell her that what she did was right. He wasn't condoning her sin. He wasn't saying, oh, it's okay, you messed up, no problem. Okay, now we're going to do this right, okay? No, he said, this is the line. I drew it in the sand. You have a choice to make. You're going to go and sin no more, Or you're going to be on this side of the line where they have the accusing to justification to kill you, to stone you. And he uses all these parallels to teach us that we don't want that. I don't want that for my life. I don't want justice for all the judgment I've given, for all of the expectations I've given, all the sins I've done, all the bad things I've thought and said. I don't want to pay for those sins. Do you? You want to pay for the sins that you have committed? Do you want him to withhold the mercy, withhold the justice from you? We have to give mercy then. We have to withhold the justice in our lives. We have to withhold the judgment that causes that we want from the justice comes from. It's so important to get right with the Lord and to really relinquish control in this area, to be able to say, Jesus, I surrender. I have in my life every reason for you to find fault in me, every reason to find guilt. I'm no better than the adulterous woman that is sitting there, and my accusers are around me saying, she failed. She broke contract. She deserves punishment. I want to be the one who Jesus says, go and sin no more. And then I want to turn around and write a line in the sand for everyone else. Come on with me. Let's come to the, as Steve says, the mountain of the Lord. Let's go together. I'll pull you, I'll take you, I'll grab you, I'll carry you, however it may be, but I don't want to be on that side of the line. I want to draw my line in the sand and I want to be on this side. Come with me. Let's drop the stones, throwing at each other. Stop throwing stones at each other. Start standing on the line of mercy. Let's choose to withhold our judgments. Choose to withhold our justice. Choose it. Each one of us have a decision today to drop the stone. I have stones in my hand all the time I want to just throw, because we live in a world as you pay for what you've done. But Jesus lives in a world where we can choose which side of the line we want to live. We can choose which side of the line we want to be a part of. For me, because it's twofold, I want to be on the side of the line, drops the stones, moves over to the other side and receives his grace. Receives a gift that was never owed to me, and the mercy from the judgment that was withheld from me. So if you today are feeling convicted about the same thing, now is your time to go before the Lord and say, Jesus, I don't want to be that person that holds the stone. I also don't want to be the person who's stoned. I want to be with you, Jesus, that draws a line in the sand and says, which today do you choose? And I am every day, you can guarantee as I stand here, that I don't take this lightly, that Nicole doesn't take this lightly, and I don't want my question to constantly be, why me? That's selfish. As if I'm being punished in some way. Instead of seeing that there are gifts in all of this, that I can hold and I can put little nuggets in my, what I've learned, the experiences I've been given. Let's pray. Jesus, I know that you're drawing a line in our sand. And proverbially speaking, Lord, you're asking us to drop the stones and we're choosing a side. I want to choose the side with you that gives and offers mercy and withholds the judgment, even though it's in your right to do so. It's within your right to give us all the justice that we deserve. So if that's you and you feel convicted, I want you to stand up. Or in your room, wherever you're watching online, you say, yeah, that's me. I am being convicted of this. I'm not looking around. It's not between me and you. It's between you and Jesus. Yeah, that's me, and I need God's grace in my life, and I need your mercy to withhold this from me. So I want you to take your hands, anyone that's responding, and have it in a fist. Pretend like you're holding on to it. Like Ildiko said, we're holding on to it. My rights. You deserve punishment. Are we willing to let go? Are we willing to let go of our rights to hold on to punishment for other people? So we take your fist and release it to Jesus as you're ready to say, Jesus, I release this to you. I don't want to hold the stones that throw justice in people's face. I want to be the recipient of mercy, and I also want to give mercy. While you're standing there with your hands open, would you picture Jesus in front of you? He's going to give you something in placement of that. Forgive us, Lord. We have sinned. We have fallen short of your love and your mercy. Don't withhold it from us anymore, Lord. Yes, Lord, I pray for every person that's responding to this. Even individuals that don't even know if they're your children. I thank you that you love us so much that you give us grace in the midst of that. If you don't know Jesus, if he's not your Savior, if you've not made that declaration for him to be the Lord of your life, now is your chance to offer him your heart, to let him make a home in you. Don't let today go by. In fact, today's a great day, Valentine's Day. It's a day of love. What better love to receive than the love of Jesus on the cross? The love of a father that gave his son because you couldn't make it. You didn't have the credentials to make it. But we can only receive it if we say, yes, Jesus. If you want to meet him, I will introduce you to him. Come find me and I'll pray, or find a pastor and let them pray with you.
Thanks for watching the Father's House Orville YouTube channel, but don't stop there. We'd love you to subscribe to our channel so that you never miss a live service or a video. Help us spread the message of Jesus by sharing this video with your friends. You can also support the Father's House financially by clicking the Give button. Thanks again for watching today, and we hope to see you again soon.